Good morning and welcome to day 30 of 90 days of meditation and transformation. Putting my wrap on. It's chilly upstairs here this morning, and I'm going to fix the computer just a bit so you guys have something to look at other than me. And so I hope everybody had a nice weekend. Fall colors have been spectacular, and the weather has been pretty nice. So, all right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, easy. Yeah, the little guy up here today. Is that okay? And Bodhi is sitting here to my left. I think they're settled. I think they were up running around quite a bit, so maybe time. I'll see. Looks like Jisoo has a fair amount of energy in him. Okay, let's get to it. So we'll begin our meditation, and just to refresh, the practice in which I take my guidelines from are the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path. And they're basically just a way, some guidelines to help us establish heightened wisdom, heightened virtue, and heightened concentration. And we do that through first accepting on some level these four truths that life in the phenomenal world contains suffering. It's not that it all is suffering, but craving, trying to hold on to pleasure, creates suffering. We can't. It's impermanent, it's ever changing. And therefore, we feel dissatisfied. We're trying to grasp at something that is amorphous. It cannot give us what we think it's giving us. And we always think that that pleasure is outside of us. It's in the object, it's in the relationship, it's in the identity. If I get praise, if I succeed, if I can only get back that person that I love. So we keep attaching ourselves to these objects and ideas, and that creates suffering. And then the fact that we age, we get sick, and we ultimately will die. And there's suffering in that. Nobody wants that. And we understand that the roots of this suffering is our attachments, our clinging, our craving, and all these things are born or they arise out of a basic confusion about how life is and who we are. We identify ourselves with this body, with the roles that we move through. And that's a limiting view and it creates suffering. It's a confused state. So anything that comes out of that confused state will create further suffering. And the good news is there's a path out of suffering. There is a suffering is possible to cease. Or, as the Buddha said, the cessation of suffering is possible. And how do we do that? We develop heightened states of wisdom, heightened states of virtue, and concentration. So there are 8 factors in this path that we integrate, and they're not separate, but it begins with a view and an acceptance that's our state. All human beings, we're not stupid. We just have a basic ignorance of these truths. And in order to progress on this path, we need to accept that that is so. That life in this phenomenal world is impermanent. We all know that. We all see change all around us, but somehow we just don't want to let that into our consciousness. And then we have a mind state that we find unpleasant, perhaps sadness or lethargy, and we resist it and we push it away. And so this path leads us to understand how to transform those mind states in our suffering, how to work with them, how to be with what is happening, embrace it, open to it. We accept that there is suffering here. We let go of our reactivity around it. We stop momentarily. We behold the ceasing of that suffering, that form of dissatisfaction and resistance, and then we act. Our actions are dynamic. They have, as we have said many times, with 30 days, we act from that place of wisdom, a place of pure potential, a place where something deeper inside of us can rise to the surface and create more effective action. So meditation is a part of, it's the 7th factor on the path. It's a concentration factor. In order to be able to really develop this wisdom, we need to develop a concentrated mind so that we can be mindful of our actions, our mind, where we place it, we're integrating our body and mind. So let's do that. Well, I will sound the bell for 15. I'm going to just sit for 15 minutes this morning. Mm. Right. So find a comfortable seating position. Just let your body settle into the surface. Feel those points where you're connected, held by that surface. Become aware of the uprightness in the trunk. And letting the shoulders just drop away from the ears. And the neck. Softening the eyes. The tongue. Letting the shoulders just move and ease back over the hips. Nose just rests over and in line with the navel. The hands can either be resting on the legs or in the lap. Just allow them to soften. Feel into the felt sense of hands. If you haven't done so already, place your attention on the awareness of breathing, sensation of breathing. And as your mind wanders, just gently bring it back to the sensation of breathing. When you notice that your mind has wandered into thoughts, label that thinking. Or recognize the impermanence of thought and return your awareness to the sensation of breathing. Remember over and over again, find yourself lost in thought, just return to the sensation of breathing. And if it helps, you might just say one very out breath. As we return to one over and over again, returning back home. Can you find an interest in each breath as new and fresh? Never been taken that way before. Never received that way before. This is a loud bell. I have to remember to turn the volume down on that. I use my phone and sometimes it's loud. So have a beautiful day. Remember, this week our focus is on nutrition, and it's again, no judgments. That's never helpful in any of these practices. We are mindful of abandoning all views of self, and we are mindful of any harming views that we hold, and we abandon them. That is our strong intention. So may you enjoy the rest of your day. And here's a guy that doesn't often come. Well, he sometimes does in the morning. Simon. Good boy. And when you can, we talked about mindful eating yesterday by just pausing before you eat, acknowledging the food, seeing the truth of the food, what it is what it, my mind is not working yet this morning. It's early. I was up late, so my thoughts aren't gonna make a lot of sense this morning. So I love you guys.